Hey Jasper, although I believe you pronounce it Jasper, in Nesada, Norway. I hope I'm pronouncing that right too. This is Matthew with freeprescriptionlenses.com, and with the help of my GoPro camera, I'm going to show you how I cut prescription lenses with transitions and anti-glare for your new RayBan 2140 color 902 in the 50 eye size. Let's take a look at this bad boy. Of course, you get the Italian leather brown RayBan case. These are your RayBan frames, your RayBan cleaning cloth, and of course you get a book on all the icons, so you get some little reading there, because they got junk mail in the frames now because I can't get enough in your mailbox. But yeah, that's your cleaning cloth. Let me put that back inside. This is your frame, and of course they actually put a little plastic sleeve on the temple before they ship to me to prevent the temples from rubbing together, and I'm going to do the same thing when I ship to you. The only thing I've done is I've gone ahead and removed your sunglass lenses from the frame, but this is color 902, the tortoise. Hopefully you can see that pretty well. Once we get some light on it, and let us begin. I'm going to put your frame into the tracing element of my edger, and let's hit start. The first thing that's going to happen is the stylus is going to come up. It's going to trace the shape of the right lens before moving over and tracing the shape of the left lens. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. You buy a genuine, authentic RayBan frame and you will receive free, clear, single vision prescription lenses or non-prescription fashion lenses. If you have flex dollars or health insurance, vision insurance that you're not using, my receipt has my federal ID tax number on there, and you can get reimbursed from your purchase. So I'm going to pull these out. I'm going to put your pupillary distance of 64.5. We got that for the right eye. Let's do this for the left, and let's bring that shape back over for the right. There we go. And now that the frame has been prepped, let's go ahead and do your lenses. Let's get your lenses ready. Your right eye reads -2 -1/4 at 85. -2 -1/4 at 85. Let me highlight that because there's two ways you can write a prescription. One in plus cylinder, the other in minus cylinder, which is what we're working in now. So let's go ahead and mark this one right too, because you're going to receive all the original manufacturer's packaging on the frame and the lenses, so you can verify that these are the Transition Signature 7 gray lenses with Crizal Alizé. So that is your right lens, -2 -1/4 at 85. Let me just zero out my lensometer. We're good there. I'm going to spin the axis wheel to 85 for your right eye. Put the power drum on -2. Hopefully you can see that. In fact, if you can't, let me grab my cell phone. Let's go ahead and turn on my app for the, let's see, the flashlight. Well, we'll get that at the very end. We'll hold that there. But take your lens out of the protective sleeve. Pull, there's another little protective device so the front of the lens doesn't rub during shipping as well. Put your lens in, and I'm going to rotate it until the sphere power comes in clearly. And check your astigmatism correction, which I'll explain in a little bit. Find the optical center. And now I'm going to put 3 dots on your lenses. And the third one is always hard to see, so I'm going to write that in, and that's an R for right. Let's do the same thing for the left. -1 1/4 -75 at 170. -1 1/4 -75 at 170. Let's turn the axis wheel to 170. Take the lens out of the protective sleeve. Take the little protective coating off the front. Put the lens in it. Let's put it on 1 1/4 and turn the lens until the sphere power comes in clearly. Fine. Check your astigmatism correction. Everything looks good there. Just dial in that in perfectly. 3 more dots on your left lens, and let's put a darker one there so you can follow that at home. And this is L for left. So now that we are done, let's go down and get your lenses ready for cutting. The red dot, of course, let me put some more dots on here so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to just darken that so you can see it show up a little bit better on the screen. But that dark spot is now your optical center. I'm going to do the same thing for the left real quick, just because the GoPro camera doesn't pick up everything. But this is a block. This needs to be attached to your lens for it to cut. So there's a double-sided adhesive sticker on there. One side is already stuck to the empty block. I'm going to pull the tape away to show the sticky side. There's a little silver button here that's a magnet. That's what's going to hold it there. And I'm going to move your lens around until that dark dot. Now the blue cross is the geometric center of the lens. But that is your optical center. That's going to sit dead center in front of your pupil. And the reason I put the 3 dots on there, I've got a straight line. Hopefully that shows up there. And that gives me the perfect meridian, because your lens cannot be rotated in the frame. It has to go in there a certain way. So I hit this button. The arm's going to come down and apply the block to the lens. Press that down there firmly. Let's do the same thing now for the left lens. The left shape pops up automatically. Let's grab another block. Pull the tape away. Make the green side all bright and green and sticky. And now let's get this lined up perfectly. Again, that black dot is your optical center. And let's get these two lined up on the horizontal meridian just perfectly. And sorry, I'm just a stickler for details. You want a perfectionist cutting your lens. Hit the button. The arm's going to come down and apply the block to your lens. Press that on there firmly. Now the actual cutting wheel is, this is the edger. This runs $40,000, weighs 200 pounds. I recommend everyone go out and get one, put it on your kitchen counter, and you won't need me anymore. The actual cutting wheel is over here on the far right. It's like a rough grit sandpaper that's going to grind away your lens material until it's the final size. And this wheel in the center with that little channel, that valley, that's what's going to put the bevel onto the lens. So let's go ahead and take your right lens. Let's pull the shape of your lens up onto the computer. And these are polycarbonate lenses. You can see the PC. If I were cutting different lens materials, I could choose it now, but we're going to stick with the polycarb. And the 2 green stars mean it's going to cut on the soft cycle. Let's get it off the quick cycle. And we're not polishing your lenses, because I'm not a big fan of polish, but I'll go over that in another video. But this little silver button, the magnet's going to hold it into the chuck, or as I like to call it, the Charles, because I don't know the machine well enough to call it chuck. But then I just hit the start button. The door closes, a clamp shuts, making an old haunted sound. And then calipers are going to come and it's going to trace the shape of your frame all the way around your lens, on the front surface and on the back surface, following the thickness of the lens as it goes all the way around to know exactly where to place the bevel so it fits best inside your frame. Now, the machine is starting up. You can hear the whirring sound. And in just a moment, it's going to touch down onto the cutting wheel. Now, it's going a little bit slow, also known as the soft cycle, because of the anti-glare coating. It's just, which is a hydrophobic surface, meaning it hates water. Makes it a little bit more slippery while cutting, so it goes a little bit slower. But your lenses are made out of polycarb. Polycarb, this brand is known as Airwear, but that is a polycarbonate lens. Polycarb is 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. It is also virtually unbreakable. It is bulletproof up to 22 caliber and has both UVA and UVB protection built into it. Your eyes are 8 times more sensitive than your skin, so you have permanent sunscreen for your eyes. Unlike the lotions, creams, and sprays you have to reapply every few hours, this is permanent and will never need to be reapplied. Your lenses are also aspheric, meaning spherical means completely round like a basketball, and aspheric means it's just a flatter curvature. So not only is it a thinner lens, but the curvature is much flatter to give you a wider field of view, and this is going to fit inside your frame so much better, giving you a much better cosmetic appearance. Now the transitions, which I'll demonstrate later on, turns dark when you go outside. It is clear inside, virtually clear, just a little bit of tint, and then it will turn very dark outside. The anti-glare coating, the Crizal anti-glare coating, eliminates glare when driving at night, particularly driving at night in the rain, but from street lights, stoplights, computer screens, overhead fluorescent lights. I'm going to grab a lens here that does not have an anti-glare coating on it, and you can see how it reflects the fluorescent lights above my head onto the lens. So when someone's looking at you, it makes for much better eye contact. They're not looking at their reflection in your glasses. And of course, the one great cosmetic reason people get it, if someone takes a picture with a flash, you don't see the flash lit up in the lens, you see just your eyes. Now the third feature that I like is it comes with the best scratch protection in the business. It is a $1 million machine that applies 7 layers vaporized onto your lens to make the anti-glare coating adhere. And it takes 24 hours to apply. So that's why they put the best and hardest scratch coating on any lens to protect their investment. Now, your lens is pretty close to its final shape, but it still has some rough edges that are left over from the cutting cycle, so there's just a small wheel that is actually smoothing out the back surface of the lens and then the front surface of the lens. It has already got the V-shaped bevel put onto it, so it will stay inside the bevel of the frame. And we'll see if it will fit now. In just a moment, the door will open. I will get my paper towel ready. And Jasper, by the way, hey, I just want to give a shout out to your son Raphael, who's watching this as well. Raphael, when you grow up, if you don't know what you want to do, race car, driver, fireman, may I suggest optician. That way you can make glasses for your dad. I'm going to use my thumbnail to scrape away this Schwarf. This is just like optical sawdust that is left over from the cutting cycle. I'm just going to remove all of that, and then let's see if it will fit into the frame. Which there's a good chance that it won't. But we're going to start by tucking it in at this outside corner first, closest to me. And I'm going to show you how to pop them in and out later because you have this frame in black. But I push down at the nose, it ain't going. So I'm going to put it back inside the chuck. And where's my nice stylus? Here it is. I'm going to take it down. I'm going to go from 0.51 to 1.5 millimeters, 0.15, and hit the retouch button. Now, the golden rule with cutting wood or lenses, you can always cut more off of a lens. You can never add it back on. So I start a little bit large and work my way down until it's the perfect size. So I apologize that the right lens takes a little bit longer. But I'm a perfectionist when it comes to cutting lenses, especially when I have to ship this to Norway. And Jasper, I'm so glad that you speak English. That makes my job a lot easier. So let me ask you, do you like the lutefisk? Is that how it's pronounced? That pickled herring that's very strong? And actually over there, here's one of my examples that I'm working on. I don't know if the steampunk craze has made it over there, but it's like the Victorian era on steroids. But here's a few of the designs that I'll be making for my website, which is rxsteampunkgoggles.com, where I've glued the gears on, and then I've actually taken apart some clocks, and I've taken the gears out, and I have a device that heats these up to several hundred degrees, and then I stick it into the plastic. Now, of course, I've got an old coin dangling on this side, but it's just a few of my designs that I'm currently working on. It's all very primitive, and I'm learning as I go. Although I just happen to like this one that has, you know, the coin that you saw earlier mounted onto the side, and then some little keys. And these are anchored in there with a tremendous amount of heat, and they will not come out. But we're going to stick to the original classics, and this is an original classic. This is the original Wayfarer. Open this button up, take the lens out, dry it off so I can continue to work on it. I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner again. Push down on it. See, I don't think it's going to go this time. Yeah, it's still a little bit too big. So I'm going to take it down another 0.15. So this is the second time I've done that. So we're at 0.3 of a millimeter minus 0.30 and hit the retouch button. And it's not uncommon because the 2140 has a very deep bevel. These were originally designed as sunglasses, and it's just hold the glass lens in there. Again, this is the RayBan 2140 color 902 in the 50 eye size with the 22 bridge. As stated before, these are the Wayfarers, handmade in Italy. Now, this is the original Wayfarer. I am wearing the new Wayfarer. The frame in my left hand was originally designed in 1952. It is the classic, iconic frame that presidents, musicians, everyone all over the world has worn. This is the new Wayfarer, redesigned in 1992, and it's what I'm wearing. It has a little bit less of the tilt. This is called panoscopic tilt, the angle where this sits in closer to the cheek and this is away from the eyebrow. My lens is a little bit more vertical, but just about the same temple on both of them. This is the 50 eye size, this is the 52. I just happen to wear the new Wayfarer. It's just my thing. I've been wearing this frame for 4 years now, and of course I wear it in different colors. Every day I pop my lenses out and put them into a different color depending on what I'm wearing. Now I've got the color 6053, the blue crystal. the blue front with the crystal sides because I have a blue shirt with pinstripes, and I thought that would accent it very well. And again, did I mention that your lenses are unbreakable and bulletproof up to 22 caliber? So you're not going to hurt your lens, you're not going to hurt your frame by doing this. Let me just clean my fingerprints off so I can see what I'm doing, yo! By the way, you will be receiving one of my own premium microfiber cleaning cloths, as well as the one that RayBan provides. And I will also provide you with cleaning instructions, not just for your glasses, but for your cleaning cloth and case, so it will last you for years. No other seller on the internet is doing that. Just one of the many things I offer, as well as a photo request to have your picture on the website. And pretty soon, and I know my website is still rather primitive, I paid a friend cash to build it for me. I paid for it in full, and a little bit more. We're almost there, almost there. One more tenth of a millimeter. I was doing 0.5. I'm actually going to do just 1/10 of a millimeter, so the total now is 0.40. Hit retouch. I know this is boring, but trust me, you want a perfectionist cutting your lenses, and especially since you already have this frame in black and you want to pop the lenses in and out, you will be able to do that. In fact, how's this for honesty? It doesn't matter who you buy your next pair of original Wayfarers from, as long as it comes in two sizes, the 50 and the 54. Of course, having said that, they now make a petite 47, but for years and years and years you could only get it in the 50 and 54. But if you buy another color of the 50, your lenses will pop in and out, just exactly how I'll be demonstrating to you in just a moment. Also, you can see water spraying on the lens. Originally, when this started cutting, there was no water spraying. Polycarbonate cuts dry where plastic and high index lenses cut wet. Now the little wheel is coming into place to put the safety bevel on both the front and the rear surface of the lens. It does that with each cycle. But as I was telling him in one of the emails, I spent a great weekend. It was late November, early December in 1999. I got the chance to take a ferry from Copenhagen, Denmark, over to Oslo, Norway. Of course, what to me looked like, what they called a ferry, looked like a cruise ship that we would sail around Hawaii or Alaska or the Florida Keys. But it was a great time, and actually, as we were pulling into the port of Oslo, there was something on the side of the mountain I thought was artwork. It was this giant swoosh, like the Nike swoosh. And I just thought it was some sculpture. I didn't realize that was the ski jump for the Olympics. One of those ones, you know, the, oh, what was that Wide World of Sports thing? The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat showed the skier falling. That thing is no joke. That thing is huge. When you get up to it, whoever has the courage to jump off that thing going, what, 60, 80 miles an hour? It is unreal. That takes a lot of courage. So, I'm going to tuck this in at the outside corner. And again, using my thumbs, I push down at the nose, and it snaps in easily. So I'm going to go ahead and take this block off and set that down. And let's go ahead and get the left lens. I'm going to flip this over to L and hit the start button. Well, let me put the lens in there first with the little magnet holding it in place. Hit the start button. The door closes. The clamp shuts a little easier this time because of the wetness. And the calipers are going to trace the shape of the left side of your lens this time, going all the way around both the front surface and the back surface at once, measuring the thickness of the lens to know where to put the bevel so it goes in perfectly with no edge thickness. So you're going to get a great cosmetic value. So not only are they thinner lenses, but they're the flatter lenses that don't come out past the profile of the frame. Now again, so when you get these and you want to pop them out, I tell people you just have to thumb your nose at the idea of popping them out. With your thumb at the nose, you're always going to push down. So I have the frame with the lenses pointed down, the temples up. These pieces are called the temple. But I place my thumb at the nose, I grab the lens on the other side so it doesn't fall on the floor. And you can use your hand to torque the frame. You're not going to hurt the frame, but actually I do want to point out, since you're in a cold climate, make sure the frame is at room temperature. Don't leave the frame in a car overnight when freezing temperatures, because plastic does become brittle. But you can push down, put your other thumb on top of the first thumb, and then push downward. Your lens will pop out. And of course, you can do the same thing on the other side. And I'm right-handed, so I use my right hand. But when I reapply the lens, when I reinsert it, I'm not trying to cross over the frame. I have the side I'm working on closest to me. My elbows are touching my sides, my arms are bent at a right angle. I tuck the lens in at the outside corner closest to me first, and then as always you're pushing down at the nose, whether you're taking it in, putting it in or taking it out. But let's go ahead and inspect your right lens. And again, I can't emphasize this enough, your lenses are unbreakable, so you will not hurt it by doing this. I'm going to spin the axis wheel back to 85. Hopefully you can see that through the magnifier. There's 80, there's 90. Let's go halfway in between at 85. That white dot that is on your lens is your optical center. I'm going to put it in my Marco 101 lensometer. And I'm going to read the power. I'm getting -2. Let me turn on my flashlight so you can see that. Yes, everyone at home, hang on. Alright, let me see if I can do this. My smartphone is too smart for me. That is my wife's cat that she put on my phone, and I don't know how to change it. So, let's go ahead and swipe this. My Samsung Gear, which pairs up with my Samsung watch, and of course it's 31 degrees in my hometown of Durham, North Carolina. And let's turn on the flashlight. And we are reading -2. We're going to check your astigmatism correction. And we're at -2 1/4, 1 tick mark past the 2. And the way your prescription reads, -2 -1/4 at 85, -1 1/4, -75 at 170. The unit of measurement we use in the optical world is called a diopter, spelled D-I-O-P-T-E-R, and goes in quarter increments starting at 0, which we in the business call plano. Everyone else calls non-professionals call it non-prescription. So it starts at 1/4 and goes up from there, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1, 1 1/4, 150, 175, 2. So in your right eye, you need 8 steps of correction for your farsightedness. Without your glasses on, you see wonderful up close. You could take your Crizal cloth with the print that's on the back and read everything up close. The farther away it is, the more blurry. So that's why you put on the glasses. But everything you look at is actually much larger in real life than it appears, so your glasses will minify down to the correct size. Now, you need 1 step of astigmatism correction, and there is a stigma over the word astigmatism. It just means shape. So you have a second curve on your eye. This first number makes everything the right size. The second number takes away fuzzy edges. Think of it as the fine-tune knob, and we're going to turn that knob to 85. A straight line is 0 to 180 with 90 in the middle. Think of this as a circle going 360 degrees. We're going to turn that knob to 90 to 180, but on our way to 90, we're going to stop at 85. Now, your left eye is -1 1/4, -75 at 170, so you only need 5 steps of correction for your left eye to minify down to the correct size, but you need 3 steps of astigmatism in addition to that. So, that's why we ended up with 2 1/4. Here we're going to end up with -2. Remember high school algebra, you add 2 like signs together, but using today's terms, if someone had borrowed $1.25 from you, and then they borrowed another 75 cents, they would owe you a combined value of -2, well, $2. Now, these first 2 numbers are real values. This last number, 170 or 85, it can be anywhere in the circle from 0 to 180. That's why your lenses have to be oriented just perfectly for you to see perfectly. And let's go ahead and take your left lens out. Let's dry everything off and scrape away any debris that might be on the edge of your lens. And again, I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner first with the frame upright. And again, I'm not trying to reach across. I have the empty side closest to me, and that's just me, and you'll develop your own technique. I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner first, and then using my thumbs, press down at the nose. Now, some people like to pull up on the top of the frame to get the lens out. You can certainly do that. Some people like to push out at the outside corner. You will develop your own technique. The reason why I like to push at the nose is that is the thickest part of your frame, and there's very, 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 very little chance of ever doing any damage to the thickest part of the frame, where down here at the top, that is the thinnest part, and since you're in a cold Norway, you just never know. So let's take this block off. Dry your lens again. I'm going to spin the axis wheel to 170 and put the power on well, let's put the lens in first and spin it. I'm sorry you can't look inside the lensometer, but I'm getting a power of Everything comes in clearly when I do that. Let's get the flashlight. Again, I'm getting a power of -1 1/4. I'm going to check your astigmatism correction, which is the second curve, and we're getting -2. Because again, when you add -1 1/4 and -75, you get -2, so that is made perfectly. The other thing I want to check, your pupillary distance is 64.5. I'm going to turn the back of my card around. I'm going to place the 0 of my PD stick against my thumb on your right lens. And when we measure on the left lens, we're getting 64.5, so that is made perfectly. That is your pupillary distance, that one measurement I need when making glasses. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean the dots off of your lens that I placed there, unless you want to be the first on your block to wear them that way. But this is also a great time for me to explain to everyone that when you get these in the mail, there's a slight chance that these are too loose or too tight. But there's an 80% chance that when you try these on, one side is higher than the other. That's because 80% of people have one ear that's higher than the other. But I'm going to get them, and that's why 99% of all optical shops will do free adjustments if you ask them. But I'm going to get them in standard alignment, also known as a 3-point stance. The 3 points are 1, 2, and the bottom of the frame being 3. I set it on the counter and press down. There is no wobble. When I say wobble, I'm part of that 80%. When I take my glasses off and press them on the counter, they do wobble. But they sit level on me. So I flip them over, press down, there is no wobble. I make sure that each temple overlaps perfectly and they're not askew like that. And then there's the same amount of tension on each of these triple barrel hinges, by the way. I have a single barrel hinge. Can you see that on mine? There's just the one barrel. This is like a belt loop where there's 2 on the temple and 1 on the frame where they go together and a screw goes through there. That is on mine. Let me put yours back on, mine back on. You have a triple barrel hinge, and there's actually 3 of them that go together like this before the bolt goes through, well, the screw. So this is a very strong, very durable frame. You will not hurt this frame through normal wear and tear. This thing built like a tank. You can almost drive a car over it. Now these are your lenses. While they are still clear, I'm going to go ahead and activate them, the transition portion of them. I'm going to put them and expose them to a strong UV light in my little transitions box. And as you will see, it takes about 30 to 45 seconds for them to turn dark. It takes a little bit longer when you come back inside, 45 seconds to a minute 15 to return back to virtually clear. Now Jasper, pay attention, all transition lenses turn dark on day 1. Give them 2 weeks. They're going to keep getting darker and darker every sunny day for the first 2 weeks until they get to their final setting. After that, they will work for years with maximum performance. They will not work inside of a vehicle behind a traditional windshield because your windshield absorbs all the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays so your upholstery doesn't rot and your dashboard does not crack from sitting in the sun. Now, if you have a convertible or a motorcycle, they will darken and they will have to be exposed directly to the sun for them to darken. Now, they're also temperature sensitive, which won't be a big deal for you. When it's 85 degrees and below, they will get darker than they will when it's 90 degrees to 100 and up. When it's triple digits, you don't like to work 100%. They don't like to work 100%. Everyone's miserable when it's like that. Now, this is the first time they've been activated. They're going to, as I just mentioned, they're going to get darker and darker every time. This is just the first time. So Jasper in Crizal, Norway, and your son Raphael, who is watching this, I appreciate you buying the RayBan 2140 color 902 in the 50 eye size. If anyone has any questions about what I can or can't do, just email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. And hopefully everyone else has got the chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.